Well, I am keeping it going with more weird NASCAR rumors from silly season history. Like I said in the last video, going forward in this series, I'm going to focus on rumors from 1 year for each video. And today, we're going back to 2001. If you haven't watched the first two videos in this series, then I'll link them in the description, but you don't really need to watch them in any specific order. So let's jump straight in with our first rumor today, which no matter how many times it got denied, just didn't seem to want to go away. Tony Stewart heading to Chip Ganassi Racing. These days, we may be talking about Kyle Larson running the Coke 600 Indy 500 double, but back in 2001, it was Tony Stewart running the double. And when he was in Indy, he was behind the wheel of a Chip Ganassi car. Ganassi was also in his first year as a Cup Series car owner, and while Sterling Marlin was putting together a solid season that would see him picking up 2 wins and finishing third in points, the team's second driver, rookie Jason Leffler, was struggling heavily. So it was easy to see why adding Tony Stewart, who had won 9 races in just his first 2 Cup Series seasons, would be appealing. The relationship between Stewart and Ganassi was just the fuel that the rumor would need to start spreading like wildfire. Stewart held a team meeting soon after the Indy 500 to assure his team that he wasn't leaving, but that didn't stop the rumors from persisting. Over the next couple of months, Leffler's sponsor Singular Wireless announced that they would be leaving for RCR in 2002, and Target said that they were interested in sponsoring the team's second car. And again, it was rumored that Stewart would be going to the number 41 Target Dodge in 2002. Stewart had to deny these rumors again at the beginning of September, flatly stating that he had 3 years left on his contract with Joe Gibbs Racing and that he had no intentions of going anywhere. Honestly, I think this move would have been interesting, but the big question is, does Tony Stewart still win his championships if he goes to Ganassi? Perhaps surprisingly, I think the answer might be yes. Remember, Sterling Marlin was in the heat of the championship battle in 2002 until he got hurt. So Ganassi was a really solid team at the time, and a team of Stewart and Marlin in 2002 would have been a force to be reckoned with. Marlin's performance never really returned to the level it was prior to his injury at Kansas, and the team was not quite as competitive in years to come. But I think that with the stabilizing presence of Stewart, the team may have maintained its performance level. Ultimately, the seat would go to Jimmy Spencer in 2002, and the world will never know what could have been. Weirdly, there was actually also a rumor that Jimmy Spencer was moving to IndyCar around this time, but that rumor never really seemed to have much to it, other than the fact that he sat in an IndyCar or something. But it's still weird to think about. Moving on to rumor number 2, Robert Yates Racing switching to Dodge. There were actually a couple of weird rumors about Robert Yates Racing around this time, including the 28 car switching from its iconic Texaco Haviland sponsorship to Shell Pennzoil, which would have been weird enough, but Yates to Dodge? That's a different level of weird. During Robert Yates' time in NASCAR, his team was almost synonymous with Ford. I mean, just 2 years earlier, Dale Jarrett had won a championship driving a Yates Ford sponsored by Ford Quality Care. Then think about Roush Yates engines, which today provide engines for every Ford team in NASCAR. The name Yates and Ford practically go together like America and apple pie to this day. The rumor seemed to be started by some unnamed source who was, quote, familiar with Detroit's inner secrets. So the credibility wasn't really that great, but it still caused a bit of buzz, and Robert Yates ended up making a statement to deny it. Yates said that Dodge never approached him, and he didn't mince words about it. The rumor that did seem to have some truth to it, though, was the idea that Ford approached Yates about starting a third team. Yates actually confirmed that they had approached him about starting a third team with an unnamed driver, which makes me think they had someone in particular in mind. But Yates turned them down, wanting to focus on making his 2 teams as competitive as he possibly could. Actually, I remember hearing in an interview once, I think it was on Dale Jr. Download, but I can't remember which episode, that Yates was even a little bit resistant to the idea of expanding from one car to two. In the end, I don't even find it possible to imagine Robert Yates racing running Dodges. It would just be bizarre. Anyway, now on to rumor number three. You know which driver seemed to be the hottest commodity on the silly season market in 2001? Matt Kenseth. There were tons of rumors that he was going to leave Roush in 2002. The most persistent rumor was that he was going to Richard Childress Racing in either the 30 car or the 31 car. Kenseth denied the rumors, saying that it would be foolish of him to leave Roush and that he had all the support he could ever want from Roush and DeWalt. I actually think that Kenseth was right in thinking that this would have been a mistake, and I certainly don't think that he would have won his championship in 2003 if he was with RCR. It's not that RCR was a bad team at the time, but they were still reeling from the loss of Dale Earnhardt, and they certainly weren't as good as Roush in the early 2000s. In spite of being a three-car team, it was Kevin Harvick's team that was clearly better than the rest. Obviously, Harvick is a future Hall of Famer, but it still should be noted that from 2001 to 2006, 10 of RCR's 14 wins came from Harvick. Over that same period, Roush would win 46 races as an organization with 6 different drivers, and 13 of those would come from Kenseth. And obviously, he would win his championship with Roush in 2003. One other Matt Kenseth rumor was that he was going to take his DeWalt sponsorship and leave Roush for Evernham Motorsports, presumably to replace the struggling Casey Atwood in the 19 car. Also, not having to do with Kenseth, there was a rumor that McDonald's was going to reunite with Bill Elliott in the number 9 car for the 2002 season. So there was an alternate universe where instead of seeing 2 red Dodge dealers cars in 2002, we saw a McDonald's number 9 car and a DeWalt number 19 car. Anyway, I think it's pretty clear that Kenseth made the right call staying at Roush. And now, 2 decades later, we remember him as the last champion of the Winston Cup era and a NASCAR Hall of Famer. And wrapping things up with one more brief rumor, and coming back full circle with Indy 500, Kevin Harvick possibly getting a chance to run the Indy 500. At the very end of 2001, I mean literally, this article was from December 31st of 2001. Kevin Harvick was getting ready to run the Rolex 24, and there was a rumor that he could end up getting a shot to run the Memorial Day double in 2002 if he did well enough in the Rolex 24. It doesn't look like this rumor ever really went very far, but honestly, I love it when elite drivers get a shot to attempt the double. I really wish Harvick had gotten the chance to compete in the Indy 500, but ultimately it never happened. Nothing really to judge here as far as whether or not it would have been a good career move for him. It just would have been cool, and I'm sad that we never got to see it. I'm still crossing my fingers that we'll get to see Kyle Busch run the Indy 500 one day, along with maybe someone like Chase Elliott. If you have someone in mind that you would like to see run the double, then let me know in the comments. Anyway, those are the weird rumors that I have for you today. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it and share it with a friend. Thank you so much for watching, and again, as long as people continue to enjoy these videos, I'll keep making them. Have a great day.